Hi, I'm Alekios, and I chose to do does the amount of air pressure in a basketball affect the percentages of foul shots made?
What made you decide to do this as your topic?
So a lot of times in games, the refs just like hand us a ball to use, and sometimes the air pressure can be off, and that affects how we play. So I wanted to figure out what the air pressure, like the right amount of air pressure is, so we can the games will be more interesting because more shots will be made and make the game will be more interesting.
Okay. What did you learn in your research? Did you find anything out about basketballs and what air pressure they should be at?
So I learned that 7.6 to 7.8 psi air pressure is regulated from the NBA. So I was going to use that as one unit, and a couple other things that I learned were that the bounce, the amount of air pressure can affect the bounce, how it bounces off the rim. So, because you don't want to overpower it, because then it'll just bounce right off the rim. You don't want to put it too short either, because it'll just fall short. You want to aim for the 3 hooks in front of the rim, because that has a better chance of it going in.
In terms of when you're shooting the foul shot?
Yeah.
Okay. What were some of the air pressures that you chose to test out?
So I chose 2 psi, 7.6 psi, and 9.6 psi.
Okay. And why did you not choose around 4 or 5?
Because I measured those, and then it wasn't like you couldn't. It honestly felt like 7.6.
Okay, so it didn't feel much of a difference.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you?
Another thing that I learned was that if you put more air in the ball, it makes the ball lighter, and with less air, the ball gets heavier.
Oh. So what was your hypothesis?
So I hypothesized that the 7.6 psi air pressure would work best, just because that's the NBA, what the NBA recommends, and I thought if that's what the NBA recommends, that's probably the most accurate.
Okay. And so what did you do? How did you run your experiment?
So we already have the foul line measured in our backyard, and I've been shooting foul shots for a long time now, and my shots have gotten really consistent. So I shot 25 shots with each amount of air pressure, and I recorded my data.
And what did you find?
I found out, so I made 2 different graphs just so you could see it better. So the shots made for 2, I made 16 shots, 7.6 I made 19, and then 9.6 I made 13. There's a 3 basket difference in each of those, or an increase, and then percentages, there's different. I made a whole different graph.
Okay. If you were to do this experiment again, or something like it, what would you do differently next time?
I would probably do more trials just to support my hypothesis better and to make sure I have the right results.
So instead of doing 25 shots for each PSI in one day, you might do it across multiple days?
Yeah.
Okay. What is one of the reasons that you did it all in one day? What were some of the things that you held constant in your experiment?
So I wanted to make sure the weather was constant, so I did it at 30 degrees. And the temperature actually does affect the air pressure, but since it was all the same temperature, I wasn't really worried that it would affect it.
Okay. What happens to the ball under colder weather?
It will lose air pressure.
Okay. Is there another thing with basketball or another sport or something else that you would do going forward? Maybe another experiment similar to this, or?
I probably would. I would do it for basketball because I have a desire for basketball. I'd probably do the bounce this time.
Okay, see how high it bounces.
Yeah, that's also interesting.
Okay. All right. Very good. Nice done. All right. Thank you.